And hello, everybody, and welcome to the kickoff of MGT 573 Project Management and Performance. This is an exciting class. Let's be honest. All of project management is an exciting journey. I mean, you are putting yourselves in a position with the skills and knowledge you need to change in a substantive way the world around us. I have lived it in my own life, and I expect the same of you. In fact, I will tell you this. In some of my roles as director in IT, my project managers, don't tell the technologists this, my project managers make more than the technologists. Not because we're better, though, wink, we like to think we are sometimes. It's because of the value we bring to the business. I had program managers making more than 25-year technologists that were respected. I'm not saying it's about money. I'm not saying that's how you make a difference in the world. I'm saying the business places value in what we do. So I think it's super exciting. So let's get underway. Got a lot of slides to go through this week. These slides, I'm going to go through them at a high level. This does not replace the need to read the book or to participate in the discussions or assignments throughout the various weeks, right? These are meant to supplement the information, right? So project management has grown rapidly, and that's really because we live in a world of constrained resources, and the speed to market is ever increasing. And so the need to develop a product and make sure that it succeeds and hits the market within scope, schedule, and cost is more important now than ever. So this is really, the world continues to evolve very rapidly, and project management is a discipline that can keep up with it. I will tell you why. A lot of disciplines like some of these Lean Six Sigma, for example, those are methodologies which are going to take you step by step through a process and how to find. That's not project management. The PMBOK guide and all the knowledge we give you is a framework, and it depends on you to apply it to every project, which by definition is unique, right? So the literature goes through some historical examples of projects: Tower of Babel, the Egyptian pyramids, the Great Wall of China. I am blessed to have been to all of them. Well, the Tower of Babel, I've been to the area. But anyhow, for the other two, I've been. So anyhow, projects have developed, but they developed generally in a waterfall fashion, right? Which is the traditional approach to project management, which is fine, right? And it's still a very valuable, useful approach. In fact, most of the projects I lead today are waterfall type, or they are a hybrid of waterfall and agile along the way. So the literature goes through multiple examples of those. You can read those in the book. So project management then continues to develop. And remember I said it was a framework? That's what the PMBOK guide will describe it as. The PMBOK guide, if you're not familiar, the project management body of knowledge. That's the current body of knowledge, the good practices applied around the world. Okay, and so the project management body of knowledge of the PMBOK guide, right, is found wide acceptance because it is a framework. What it says is, no matter what industry you work in, construction, IT, starting a flower shop, so small business, right, running a clothing manufacturing company, it does not matter. The same processes, policies, tools that you learn in these courses and that you see in the PMBOK guide can be applied to every industry, regardless of their particular life cycle, right? You can apply this framework of project management found in the PMBOK guide and in the literature that we're studying. So it's really kind of exciting. And so we tend to think of projects as large, and let's be honest, if you're going to study for the PMBOK the PMP exam, the credentialed exam to have PMP credentials after your name, you will want to think in terms of only large projects. I mean, 10,000 people, multi-billion-dollar, decade-long projects, right? That's how you want to think of a project if you're studying for the exam. Most of us have been on large projects in terms of dollars and cents, right? A $4 million project or a $2 million project, but not necessarily in terms of large projects in terms of the number of people or length of time, right? And so projects sometimes tend to be large, but everything is a project, right? And the same principles are going to apply that we're learning in this course and others like it, right? So they're large and small, right? It's a balance. IT projects, I regularly ran a team of 3 or 4 or 5 max. It almost felt like an agile size team, but my matrix approach to other stakeholders was much more significant, right? So again, we should look at all projects the same way, small or large, but if you're studying for the credentialed PMP exam, you only want to think in terms of super large projects because it will change some of your answers along the way. Anyhow, large or small doesn't matter. It's the same approach because in all of them, in these waterfall type projects, we are concerned about the iron triangle. That's the nickname for it. A better name is the triple constraint, right? Which is time, cost, and scope, right? Your job is to integrate all of your knowledge areas and to make sure that you deliver on schedule or time, cost or budget, and scope or requirements along the way. If time changes, in fact, the next slide shows it pretty good, these need to be balanced, and this three-dimensional view is really a great graph to help us do that. If your time changes, say the boss says, hey, you got to do this project in 2 weeks less, or you get 2 extra weeks, right? It's going to change your cost and the scope you're able to accomplish. Same if I modify scope or the requirements. I am going to have an impact then on schedule and cost. What if my budget's cut? Clearly that will have an impact on schedule and scope also, right? So our job is to continuously monitor the whole project, but these in particular, these are a measure of our success. And in that process, make trade-offs to keep them balanced, to keep the cube always cube size, even if it shrinks or grows, to keep the cube, and we make trade-offs. Now, one of the first things we want to do together is define a project, and a project really goes by 2 key words: unique and temporary. Every project is unique. No projects are the same. They may be similar to something we've done, but the stakeholders have changed, the budget's changed, the time of year has changed, the staff changes, etc. Everything changes. So every project by itself is unique, right? And that's why so many projects actually fail, right? Because we treat them as same old, same old. They are not. Also, every project is temporary. We are not doing operations. We are doing projects, and they are temporary. So let me expand it a little bit better. It's unique and it's deliverable, and a deliverable is a product or result that will deliver a capability, right? That we need, right? Product, result, service to deliver a capability. So it's unique and it's deliverable, and it's temporary in its time frame. It will have a beginning and an end date along the way. Absolutely. The major characteristics of a project, as I mentioned, are unique. It's a one-time occurrence, and that's why we want to take good notes in these waterfall projects, because we want to have lessons learned, our knowledge, put it on a shelf. So the next project, which will be similar but unique, because that's the definition of a project, they can pull it off and see what we did as a starting point. And it, of course, has a finite duration, or it's temporary. But it also, project has interdependencies, right? We're going to talk about 10 knowledge areas. Some of them are key to this course. Schedule, cost, we'll talk about estimating, risk always, right? and conflict, right? And you're going to have all of those in every project, and you're going to have to manage those along the way. So there are non-projects or quasi-projects, right? Routine tasks are really called operations. They are not projects in themselves, right? Even though they might feel like a project, like running a flight line and the planes, the United planes or Delta planes that come in and out, those are operations. Those are regularly recurring things that our project may have built and handed over to operations, but now it's an operation. A project might be a new automated system that enhances this launching process, right? And so you may do things like operations, and they may seem like quasi-projects because you're going to talk about requirements or scope and schedule and budget, etc., but they're not, right? Now, project success sometimes eludes us. We just talked about the triple constraint. That is, first and foremost, every project manager's number one success or fail criteria. Are you able to meet scope, schedule, and cost? The triple constraint. But there are others in the modern world that we live in. Am I able to contribute back to the strategic body of knowledge of my organization and the direction it's going in? Think of Apple when they made the first tablet, right? Which had apps. Nobody knew what a tablet was. Nobody knew what apps were, right? They had to come up with all of that. Probably fell behind. But they continued as they developed it. It probably fell behind in schedule, cost, and requirements. But as they developed it, they continued to add to the strategic body of knowledge that in the end creates a great product along the way. Even opening new, which would open new opportunities in the future, which has been world-class for Apple, leading later to the iPhone and all the apps there. Now, the project manager is the key individual. They are the one wholly responsible for a project. Sure, you have stakeholders above you, to the left and right of you, and below you, right? Your job is to integrate and bring them together. But only you have all the knowledge. You will make recommendations to your bosses up above, but only you have all the knowledge to make the right trade-offs to keep your triple constraint aligned. So you are wholly responsible for the project, period, dot, end of sentence, right? You become like a mini CEO along the way. That's absolutely true. So why do project management? Well, the main purpose is to accomplish some strategic goal. And think of it, your project is aligned with the company strategy down through your project. And here's how it works. Your corporate strategy will produce a business case, and they'll say, let's do this project. It ties to our corporate strategy. Then they'll assign you the project manager. You will build a project charter, which begins to narrow down the business case down into something projectable. I made that word up, but you know what I mean. And then you will further, after the charter, refine that into a detailed project plan. And so you are initiating something that the company wants to go. And you're increasing the likelihood that that will be achieved with success. And so you are the one that gets to spearhead it, right? Now, there's, like anything, pros and cons. There's a negative side to what we're doing here, too. And so it adds to sometimes organizational complexity. You may violate a policy, but I'll be honest, as a project manager, I get permission. I don't worry about, as long as safety is adhered to. I don't risk limb or life, absolutely. But sometimes policies need to be updated. And so I make sure I get the right permissions, but I do what I have to do to make my project a success, right? And so, and of course, expect some conflict along the way. It's natural. It's okay. People and issues will come up. That's what we get paid for. So it's kind of exciting. And so there are a lot of forces coming to bear that is fostering this project management. has developed in this rapid acceptance of project management as a discipline. Even the Bureau of Labor Statistics today